LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2 is my favorite LEGO game, but this challenge to beat all 20 story missions without dying even once really puts that to the test. To be fair, it's my favorite because of my love for the sprawling, variety filled open world and not the story missions, but I'm certainly going to become much more familiar with them regardless. The rules are simple: beat all the main story missions without becoming little itty bitty pieces even once, and I win. If I do die, it's time to restart the entire game and try again. Normally, I'd say no invincibility or regenerate hearts extras, but those don't exist in this game as far as I'm aware. A good deal of heroes do naturally have the regenerate health power, and that's not against the rules. And trust me, this time I'll have no chance without their help. Now you know the rules, and so do I, my friends, so let's go save the multiverse and hopefully look good doing it. We begin our story in the heat of battle as the Guardians of the Galaxy do their darndest to rescue civilians from an assault by the time-traveling conqueror, Kang, the Conqueror. Yeah, that guy. It's pretty simple to protect the people from his forces, and like any good LEGO heroes, we make sure to take part in demolishing much of the city as well. The villains don't get to have all the fun. They're a bit better at it though when Kang summons an old broken down god level robot to smash us. Isn't this level 1? Where's like Shocker or someone reasonable to fight? Pit me against Stiltman instead, please. As usual, the universe ignores my pleas, but thankfully, I don't need its help. The giant killer robot is, well, like I said, old and broken down. Plus, for whatever reason, it not only has a power switch on its shoulder that's quite easy to shut off, but also comes with a handy spot for me to chuck a gravity mine into it, causing its destruction. For a cosmic level robo god, it had some pretty odd design features. With the Celestial down, Kang hightails it out of there, and we find ourselves at an Avengers party. Nick Fury ruins it right away by calling for help, but instead of rushing to answer that call, I focus on breaking everything I own for every scrap of coin. I mean, who hasn't smashed their hot dog out of the ground in search of a few cents that might spring from it? If it was such an emergency, why didn't Nick Fury call one of our personal phones, text us, or anything faster than wait 5 minutes for us to gather so he can tell us the world's in jeopardy? I can't be faulted for his poor emergency protocols. Heading out, I get into multiple big boss fights around the globe. With Thor, it's simple to beat a brainwashed Captain America and the Brainwasher, the Presence, back to back. After that, Atuma the Tuna and his men would likely tear apart Iron Man with ease given underwater makes me much slower and an easy target. But thankfully, Captain Marvel's here to save the day, with her constantly regenerating health. As would become clear quite quickly to me, enemies in this game seem to drop health far less than past games, and only regenerating characters would be able to keep them alive through many engagements. At least Iron Man can return the favor by saving Marvel from Atuma's grip. Or just focus on collecting stats first. Yeah, okay, that works. I'm sure she's fine. With Atuma on the swim, it's time for Spidey and friends to face off against the Sinister Six. Hey, Shocker, I was just talking about you earlier. You're actually more dangerous than the giant robot, surprisingly, as no minions come to drop hearts. But at least you can't seem to adapt to this single move. Only Miss Marvel being here with her regenerating health am I able to survive further attacks by Kraven the Hunter, and then Doc Ock right after. At least the good doctor has the decency to just stand there for most of the fight, while I break him apart. It's not quite the super genius moves I'd expect from him, but that's probably why he's staying perfectly still. He knew we expected him to actually fight, and he's doing what's least expected. What a tactical genius. Somehow, he still goes down, but I'm sure it's all part of his plot. Someday, when we least expect it, he'll get us. As we fearfully await that, Kang attacks. He knocks S.H.I.E.L.D. right out of the sky, drops a bunch of giant sticks in the ground, and suddenly everything goes white. Well, based on that comic cover of Spidey falling to nothing, and my extensive knowledge of comics, I'm guessing Spidey's a goner. Oh wait, no, he's fine. Literally the next second. Who could have seen that coming? Now with double the spider, it's quite easy to take down both Vulture and the Green Goblin from the future. And it's super cool to get to play as Spider-Gwen. But oh wait, Peter let her fall yet again, so it's gonna be a bit till we see her again. The Avengers are splitting up to deal with Kang's forces, and also because having the entire Avengers roster in every level would make it both a tad overcrowded, but also way overpowered, and we want to give the bad guys a chance. Racing off to Wakanda, the team, now including Black Panther, is pit against Man-Ape, and he features one of the coolest lines I've heard.
I will never submit to you or Kang, not so long as I draw breath. Then I shall draw it from you.
What a line, especially for a LEGO game. Only thing is, pretty hard to follow up on that threat when he spends most of his energy rolling around, while we merely stare from the sidelines. Kills the suspense just a tad bit. With Manape all rolled out, we switch over to the other team as they take on the Enchantress and the Black Knight. Enchantress, surprisingly, is incredibly easy to beat by simply eating her lunch. You can be an extremely powerful goddess, but apparently skipping lunch causes you to faint like the rest of us. And the Black Knight's traps terrify me at first, but it turns out having the Sorcerer Supreme along with us really comes in handy. It's here where I first realized Captain America or Captain Avalon, or whatever multiversal shield-carrying character is around, is absolutely the best character to use. The most powerful weapon in this game, as it turns out, seems to be the shield, as it bashes bosses down quite quickly, while easily taking down plenty of henchies along with them. First Black Knight and then Claw and his two minion bosses all go down at record speed thanks to the power of Captain America's mighty shield. Someone really needs to take that from him. I start to panic yet again when I find myself flying a plane while trying to shoot down Baron Zemo, but thankfully endlessly firing with zero care for who gets hurt works wonders, and down goes the Baron. Gotta point out, his crashing plane nearly did run over a bunch of people, including a baby. But I guess while DC's superheroes care deeply about the no-kill rule, Marvel is shooting for the maximum collateral damage reward. In fact, let's get into a fight with the Man-Thing, simply because another hallmark of Marvel interactions is random superhero fights, because it'd be cool to watch. Man-Thing isn't even part of a level, he's just here to give me a dangerous fight and then be on his way when it turns out he was a good guy protecting Kang from fusing the realities together. Oops. To be fair, the last guy we fought with Man at the start of his name was quite evil. Look how cool the world looks now. Variety is the spice of life, right? The Avengers sadly don't agree with me, so I'm stuck going after Nexus shards scattered across the land. These Nexus shards, I don't think it matters. What matters is we get to go punch a lot of bad guys and see a lot of cool lands, and that's honestly the whole point of these MacGuffin shards. Before I go after them, I first help around the city with a few kind deeds, like freeing Stan Lee, destroying this man's entire balloon business, and freeing this woman from ice. I can't do much for her sense of direction, but hey, at least she's free from the ice. Getting far from any of that, I end up in the Old West where I once again proved the power of the shield with Old West Captain America. MODOK goes down in a heartbeat with the use of the shield, and for some reason, a bunch of chickens. Feel like I'm missing something here, but I guess he's just at the bottom of the pecking order. Then onwards to exciting new lands like, an Asgard that's in the middle of being destroyed by Surtur, the fire demon. Kang could have brought any time period and any land to this great chronopolis, and one of his top picks is a destroyed, actively on fire version of Asgard. Interesting pick, probably wouldn't have been mine. At least Surtur is surprisingly easy to beat with yet again Captain America's shield. The extremely powerful destroyer of Asgard versus one red, white, and blue shield, and the shield wins. Who'd have thought? While they're wrapping up there, Spidey, Doctor Strange, and She-Hulk head to Strange's sanctum for some chores. Not quite as exciting as defeating a giant fire demon, but just as important, I'm sure. It's basically a combat-less level till the very end when Mordo, a less than sane sorcerer, shows up to spice things up. Mordo is one of my least favorite bosses, as he loves to deal serious damage, make himself immune to damage every 5 seconds, send waves of minions that never like to share their hearts with me, use lots of one-hit kill powers, and really draw this fight out for as long as possible. And to make matters worse, I'm an idiot. So that means right near the end of the fight, while trying to hit a minion, I get pulled closer to those one-hit kill blasts than I thought I'd be, and bam, end of your pal Shenanigan. Of course. Well, level 8 out of 20 isn't so bad, right? Sadly, as usual in my plight in these challenges, I face unskippable cutscenes as I restart my adventure, but wonderfully, a very helpful educational YouTube comment on my LEGO Batman 2 video helps me finally be free of those. And then it takes me no time at all to die when Doc Ock chucks me off a bridge. Frick. Spider-Man and bridges, I've said it before and I'll say it again, they don't mix. And you know what also doesn't mix? Gwen Stacy and Green Goblin, as I managed to get blown up while chasing him down on my 3rd attempt. No matter the Spidey, the canon events always manage to get them. I get a little further in my 4th attempt when I die on level 4, burnt to bits by lava while fighting Manape. Once again, death as a Spidey. Spidey may be my favorite Marvel character, but I don't think I'm meant to be one of them at this rate. Maybe I'm the Spider-Man with the lowest intelligence and skill in the whole multiverse. But hey, I'd still be a Spidey. If I can't be a Spidey, Least I'm ready to be a pancake, as that's exactly what I become when I fail to take heed of the giant Celestial's fist crashing down on me. Dying on the first level. Wow. Turns out level 8 really was an achievement for me. I always get overconfident, leading to numerous more failures, but an abysmal loss like that at least sets me back on course as I manage to make my way back through the levels without being scattered to the wind. I even take the time to photograph the stupidity of others and plaster that image on billboards, because trust me, it's newsworthy if I'm not the dumbest person around. Perhaps I should have helped that guy instead of merely taking a picture. Nah. Probably karma that I died 2 seconds later to Surtur's instant death fire blast. Honestly, fair. Fair. At least my next attempt makes it all the way to Mordo's boss fight, and I even come out on top this time with the help of She-Hulk's innate healing, and not stepping in any purple blast of doom. With that finally done, it's time to help Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Daredevil take down Kingpin. Too bad Luke Cage is oddly not in the level, but at least Iron Fist has natural healing and cool kung fu. Plus, Spider-Man Noir is here, and he brings something almost as powerful as kung fu. A gun. Really made short work of Hammerhead with that. After that, Kingpin goes down because like any mortal, he can't resist the urge to boogie and gets too tired to fight back. With the Kingpin of crime down, I can get up to more important issues, like searing this sheep and dancing with Mr. Tittles, the cutest and best dancer around. With those even more important matters handled, I guess back to doing what I do best and get to rooting around in a dirty old cave. Least evil Iron Fist here is no match for good Iron Fist, cause I'm tapping X as fast as I can, and yeah, it's a bit anticlimactic martial arts, but I'd rather that than running like a maniac as a fire tornado chases me around. This isn't Ninjago, dude. Wrong game. Wrong game. Thankfully, the fire tornado didn't end me, evil Iron Fist went down, and I went back to doing more important things, like collecting crystals, cooking a hearty meal, and helping deal with technology gone crazy. And yes, I did all of this as Surtur, because once you get to know the guy, he's quite mellow. Destroying worlds is not a full-time gig. Apparently, he's only doing that to get through college. Otherwise, he's out here helping people as a true beacon of community service. I carry that icon with me as I head into Alchemax, the evil world-ruling corporation of the future, with a whole group of Spideys. I may not have a good track record with them, but thankfully, the Venom Carnage hybrid I'm set on fighting is actually quite simple to defeat. Really seems the more menacing they look, the easier they are to beat. By that logic, I should be impossible to beat, but sadly, it doesn't seem to work for me. No doubt the Council of Aunt May's I formed, though, would be the true hardest bosses, I'm sure. I wish I could take them with me, as I set off into an optional side mission against Morgan Le Fay. Her traps are quite scary, but thankfully they're not much of a problem since I'm so cautious and I make it out of there with the greatest reward of all. Head sizes to finally match my ego. I wasn't quite prepared for Rocket's head getting massive though. Nightmarish. Thankfully, the big heads don't get in the way as I take down Ronan the Accuser without a problem. Helps that finally the minions here are very giving and more than willing to share their hearts with me. With Ronan defeated, we suddenly find ourselves as the quietest loud guy ever, Blackagar Boltagon, and Medusa, his wife with lots of hair. And I do mean lots of hair. Wowza. Whatever conditioner she's using, I have got to get. Black Bolt's big head isn't just for show, as it sends out lots of bolts that easily wipe the floor with minions and mini-bosses alike. This makes it possible to take down his brother Maximus the Mad, who took over his throne. Feels a bit insensitive to call him the Mad, I gotta say, but probably more insensitive of Maximus to take over the throne and try and kill his entire family. Evens out, I guess. Maximus is actually a scary boss fight who I almost died to from the sheer amount of things happening at once, but by never letting up, I'm able to pull through. And I had a giant lovable dog with me. That's not really helpful to winning. I just feel a really good boy like Lockjaw deserves mention. With Maximus defeated, Black Bolt and Medusa get into a dance-off with Star-Lord, and somehow beat the Master of Dance himself. Though I feel like slapping your foe usually isn't allowed, so maybe it's not the fairest dance-off. With that random experience done with, I get back to the main Avengers as we face off with not one Hulk, but 4. All who pose zero threat and don't even really try and kill me. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. The giant worm, on the other hand, is very much trying to kill me, but he thankfully has quite the obvious weak spots, making for a quick fight. And I do mean obvious. Why the heck does this alien worm have an entire electric generator inside of it? That can't be healthy. And it definitely isn't. when Thor lights it up. After such a scorching hot fight, it's time for a nice swim. And of course, that means Attuma shows up again to hound me. But hey, at least I get to ride a crab. That's pretty cool. Confusing also when Attuma merely sits there as a bomb slowly floats to him before exploding. My team decides to copy him by merely sitting back and staring at Hulk as he gets into a fight with a Yeti. Not the best teamwork, but Attuma still has his beat at doing nothing when he merely swims in place while I use a large robotic fish to bite him. You know, as one does. Captain America once again proves the ultimate boss beater, easily beating Attuma, and we head to another desert for the last Nexus shard. This one is in Egypt, which means a fun camel ride, but it also means mummies and traps. Like the quicksand I find myself falling in when for some reason my double jump doesn't work. Well then, that was quick and unexpected. Level 17 this time at least. As always, nothing to do but begin again. And die right away due to an unfortunate placement when a short cutscene ends. And on my next run, while fighting evil Iron Fist, somehow when I get hit, I'm thrown in the opposite direction of where you'd think I'd go and land right in lava to die. The universe really isn't subtle about hating me. At least despite its hate, I make it through every level, and being extra cautious about my double jump not working, make it through the traps of Egypt. I take down the living mummy without much trouble, because as I've said, Captain America's the best. And I find myself at Avengers Mansion in one of the easiest levels of all. There's not even a boss fight to this one. I'll have to enjoy the memory of that easiness as level 19, the next level, is the hardest level known to LEGO kind. With Spidey, Iron Man, and Star-Lord here, I have no natural healers, which would be fine if Kang's robots kindly would drop some health for me. But luck is poor in that department. And now there are plenty of powerful minions with armor that requires special attacks to deal with, like Iron Man's heat beam, or during the boss fight, red armor that can only be killed by knocking them off the side. This is important to note because of the boss fight against Pepto-Bismol Man, aka Korvac, is pure hell. I die right away to his goons, but since I recognize I have no idea how to beat this guy, I keep fighting to try and learn the fight. Korvac never stops firing, except for a tiny period in which he teleports and then begins firing again right away. His blast also caused knockback, which is quite dangerous since it could be quite easy to fall off. And when I beam the golden armored enemies, I have to stand still, making me an easy target for Korvac's relentless attacks. I discover only one area safe from him, and so I think I finally have a chance, but even here it's tough to survive. With this knowledge, I rush off to start the game over again. 5 hours later, I make it back to Korvac and immediately get killed. That didn't work, but I'm too stupid to take a second and think things through, instead rushing off to try again, only to get killed while fighting Doc Ock. But nothing will keep me down, except maybe getting killed right away again by Atuma's first battle in level 2. Huh. Thank you, glitch that takes me from full health to next to no health every time I face off with Attuma here. Oh, so helpful. Beginning again, I'm gunned down yet again on level 2 for the 3rd time in a row. This time to some henchmen with fast guns and so much knockback, so I couldn't touch them. Have I mentioned that underwater levels are beyond evil? At least the run after that is finally the run for me. Well, until I reach Korvac again. Bubblegum Man here really does not hold back and death is incredibly easy. I honestly have never experienced such a difficult boss fight in all of LEGO. The strategy I thought I had is useless, but only after an hour of dying did I manage to beat him once without dying. I almost rushed off again to restart and hoped that I'd win when faced against him again, but I needed to know it was more than luck that I won once that way. It wasn't, as I had thought luck is the only way I could manage against him. His endless waves of armored enemies, his relentless attacks, the ease at which I could fall off the side, the lack of healing, the fact that I couldn't try to fly without getting instantly stunned and forced to the ground each time, and the fact that even if you can reduce his health to 0 quickly, he won't die till he's gone through his phases 3 times over, which includes beating each wave of armored enemies, meaning this one boss fight is harder than the entire game put together. Definitely the hardest experience I ever had in these numerous LEGO challenges, and after 2.5 hours fighting him, I finally recognized there was no guaranteed way to beat him without just getting lucky. Which as we've established, I'm not lucky, so I wasn't willing to do another 4.5 hour run just to get killed by him again. I pushed through, dissipated Korvac, and went after Kang. Of course, Kang's fight, the true final big boss of the game, is actually a walk in the park with Captain America's mighty shield there to help me. The heroes had won and Kang was defeated, but I've lost the challenge. And that's okay. At least now we know that as far as I can tell, unless you're super lucky or perhaps have way more skill than me at this LEGO game, you can't beat LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2 without dying once. All thanks to Korvac, the worst LEGO boss fight ever. But hey, that doesn't mean we can't party. Before the end, let's track down every sighting of Mr. Tittles and dance with him. He deserves the love. I spent 43 hours and 20 minutes in total on this challenge, marking it not only as my first lost LEGO challenge, but my longest one as well. The final run would have taken about 5 hours, but thanks to Korvac's endless repeat attempts, plus the fun time with Mr. Tittles, it became 8 hours and 10 minutes with a total of 15 failed runs, plus a little bonus of 60 extra deaths at Korvac's hands. And with that, I thank you for watching. LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2 is still my favorite LEGO game regardless of the outcome, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Now, go out, persevere, and dance your heart out in the pursuit of justice. See you later, friends.